just didn't end up panning out for them in that first game. So they got to try and get something better for them here in game 2, where picks and bans are ready. And I believe we just heard the call as well. Kigz is going to be available for this match. He'll be back in for Oceans here in that mid lane for them.
Okay, so a bit better going back to what they're used to. Not that Oceans played poorly in that game. I thought he played pretty well on the Raijin selection. Pretty impressed with his performance, but you're going with your starter whenever they're available, for sure.
And I agree. I don't think that it would be fair to try and say that that game went wrong because of Oceans. I mean, certainly they tried a lot of different things in that game. The Bacchus, the Discordia in the solo lane. So it'd be hard to narrow it down to any one thing. In fact, I think they played relatively well around the picks that they had. CLG's a little bit better in that game 1, as now we move into the picks and bans for game 2. Xbalanque Terra already taken off the board, and LG going to be banning away that Chang'e. They don't want to see fineokay on that pick again.
You can't blame them. And if you tried your shot, right? You gave it an attempt. You made your call on this is what we think is going to beat it. It didn't, so let's just take it away. And I think that's the right decision here from Luminosity. First pick Sylvanus. It was prioritized top 3 for CLG in the last draft, but with Chang'e banned, CLG seemed to want to go back to it, and with how well Jigz played on this pick, I don't blame them. I think he set up so much for them.
Not at all. I agree with you, and it wasn't as if this pick got particularly punished by them either, right? So why not go back to this? It is a little bit surprisingly picky because there's a lot of priority stuff that's still available out there. Like Guan Yu still on the table. It hadn't really been looked at yet, but Sylvanus worked for them, so go right back to it. That does leave the door open, though, for LG to draft a ton of pressure in the terms of Agni and Ratatoskr. Rat with the ultimate in the jungle, so strong at being able to influence other lanes. And then Agni just all-around might be the best mage, really. Just so strong.
I mean, with the way that Hurriwind plays Janus, I don't know. He makes Janus look like the best mage, because I'm surprised that LG let him go back to that selection. I really felt like the 2 picks, fineokay was obviously a lot to handle, but the 2 picks that stood out to me were the Sylvanus and were the Janus.
Yes.
And that's CLG is both of them yet again, so I'm already worried for Luminosity.
It is going to be the Janus and the Hachiman, though, on the side of CLG to go along well. We'll see if this Artemis pickup that comes in on the back end of that first pick phase for LG is going to be enough to answer that. Maybe give them a little bit better laning phase position. It can be kind of difficult sometimes, even though it doesn't have much mobility. The boar is just so strong when you're trying to gank that maybe that can slow that down a little bit. We'll see if that works out for them, but they're going to ban away some high-pressure junglers from Homie. The Susano and the Mercury both taken off the board.
I like it. Keep Homie off of those signature characters where you can put pressure on you in the early game and set up for his team. The Aphrodite ban is a smart one from CLG, keeping Kiki off of that in the solo lane. But if I'm Luminosity, I'm taking my Guan Yu and saying thank you very much, right? Like, you just take Guan in this spot. Instead, they take Ymir. Flex pick could be for Geno, could be for Kiki. Now CLG should just take Guan. Like, where is the Guan Yu?
But here's the question, if I'm LG. Here's what I think. How many walls does Guan Yu make?
0.
How many freezes does Guan Yu have at his disposal?
0. He's usually nice and comfortable in temperature.
That's right. So Ymir has both those things. Take him then. As the hell comes out from Osiris. So that is, or along with the Osiris, another very strong healer for CLG, and someone who can do very good anti-heal taken away, so I don't have to worry about it. But I mean, would LG really have picked it anyway?
I don't know that they would have necessarily. And Bacchus, the last selection here, you heard Slaney say it before this set. CLG seemed to undervalue healers coming into this split. No longer. I mean, the first pick Sylvanus, the hell to round out the draft. Last game they first picked Chang'e. Clearly CLG's aboard the healer train. LG not so much. Guan Yu was on the table the entire time, and they never ended up taking it. So it's really up to how well can Kiki punish this hell in the solo lane. If LG don't shut down this hell early and often, LG's done for.
And it looks like he's trying to do it with the Ymir, I got to imagine. So what's that matchup going to be like? I mean, Hell has the cleanse in the kit and can pre-fire as well if they predict the freeze coming. I mean,
it's true.
It seems like this maybe not that great a matchup for Kiki.
It can be difficult, especially because a lot of what Ymir relies on in that solo lane is his poke potential. Like, one freeze into 1-2 is very, very difficult to come back from. You'll lose about half your HP.
Yes.
Hell can heal that up very, very easily. It's going to be tough for Kiki for sure.
Now, you can't cleanse the wall. Maybe if Ymir can find some nice walls, that can cut off some of the path because Hell can't jump or anything like that, but we'll have to see how it ends up working in action. Can LG force this game 2, or can LG force game 3, or does CLG got it here?
I think CLG's got it here. They looked like they were back to their old form, looked like their old selves, and I think they won the draft.
Well, let's go ahead and see how these picks work in action. Casters, Tom and Toli, take it away.
Thanks a lot, guys. Getting ready here for game number 2. Not quite 3 just yet. But looking at this one, I mean, games aren't finished in picks and bans, but I think that CLG's draft is just so dominant here.
It's all about what they know their strengths are. They knew it was the Sylvanus and the Janus. They got both what they really wanted. The rest doesn't even matter. It's plug and play at that point.
Yeah, I think the hell is going to be fantastic. And the cleanse into Ymir is really just tough. I mean, that's Ymir's bread and butter, is getting the freeze. You've got something to say?
You got to keep in mind, though, the Ymir wall is going to stop her from getting out of there. So maybe an early Phantom is going to be a concern for CLG.
Certainly something on the mind. And what we ask you guys at home is who's going to win this one? Cut and dry. Is it going to be CLG? An overwhelming percentage said yes in game number 1. About 86%, if I'm not mistaken, were on the side of CLG in game number 1. We'll see if that's the case here in game number 2. Let's get right into it and see how these teams are going to go in game 2 between these guys. And, well, we're starting off hot. Weekend on top of Hurriwind. There's a good freeze. Hell not there to cleanse. Weekend number 1.
Hurriwind used his purification beads a little too early, anticipated Geno to kind of pull it a little quickly. But that's the scary thing about Ymir. He kind of runs up to you. You can stop.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, oh, that means he's about to do a freeze animation or a carpet animation. So you better use it. But you got to wait for that audio cue as well.
Yeah, rough stuff there. fineokay will be playing in the solo. And JKLOL, to all the analysis done about the solo Ymir, it's going to be a solo Bacchus.
Wow.
And this is interesting. Ymir clears the wave a lot easier than Bacchus.
Yes.
Solo Bacchus has been played before at a professional level. Xaylia had tried it once upon a time and actually won with solo Bacchus. Being in the solo lane allows you to build a little less tanky, a little bit more power, and frankly, if you ever get hit with a Warlock / Bacchus Intoxicate, you're going to remember it for a long time. Not sure if he's going to go in that direction or not, totally, but I do know he's not going to go as support build, and a little bit of power goes a long way. I believe it's 70% scaling on Intoxicate. So solo Bacchus is exciting and will blow players up, just as long as Shing isn't playing it.
That's true, but Ymir is a big different story. You say that there's 70% scaling on the Bacchus Belch, but you're looking at specifically the Glacial Strike that has also 70% scaling on a much shorter cooldown, 8-second cooldown to be able to utilize. But this Ymir pick is trying to alleviate the pressure and apply it onto Jigz, making sure that Clout is going to survive on his side of things, and then whenever Jigz makes these rotations in the jungle, you'll take him out early.
fineokay in some trouble here. B's already used, and Kiki and Weekend will just meditate that one back up. Kiki does have the med. Yeah, Jigz on the Sylvanus is a character that's very susceptible to
death.
The Ymir effect. I mean, a freeze or a slow is often enough to kill a Sylvanus. A stun is even better, and a wall is the icing on the cake.
I'm surprised they don't just play Ymir solo and then put Ares into the support position. They last picked this Bacchus. Ymir has a lot of damage in general. His Homiefe is forcing out the blink from Weaking, trying to be a little bit annoying, but fineokay already had his blue buff. He'll be fine in the solo lane.
I much prefer the keegsmate. P.S. He's back. I much prefer the Bacchus Ymir combination because of the burst damage. Ares has early game burst damage, and it's extended damage. It's not true burst. The hell can cleanse, heal, and get the hell out of there. Intoxicate does a great job because it's very similar to Hebo, where Hebo knocks you up and ults you before you can respond. You get belly flop intoxicated, and if Kiki's building damage, he'll be able to, with the help of his teammates, obviously, just one-shot a player. That's the goal here, I think, with respect to the Bacchus.
Which makes sense, but if you take a trip down memory lane of how game number 1 ended, Bacchus couldn't really do much. Granted, it was support, but it was because he was always playing defensively, whereas an Ares needs to commit all in. Now, I'm not saying this Bacchus pick is bad by any stretch of the imagination. It leaves a little bit more to be desired.
I can feel that, and don't get me wrong. I don't know if this is the hill I'm going to die on, so to speak, but I see the method behind the madness for Luminosity. I think there is something to be said about the Bacchus wasn't able to be Bacchus in game number 1, but the reason we saw the Bacchus pick was a little bit of anti-heal and big burst damage, right? That's why we're seeing the Bacchus. And so he wasn't able to do that in game number 1 because his job was, he was asked to peel as a support player, and frankly, he just didn't. Now, Geno has Ymir, which is one of the best peels in the game. I mean, you can even literally put a wall between the aggressor and the defender.
Or defend your own minions from any sort of basic attacks that Snoopy might have to offer. Jigz not able to get there to cancel some of those backs, but CLG don't mind with a wave coming right back up.
And so, with that in mind, I mean, Geno, do all the peeling, and Kiki just jump on people and delete them. That's the game. That's the mentality, because now you can actually allow Bacchus to do what he tried to do in game 1 and failed at.
This is definitely an all-in composition from
Yes.
Luminosity. You're
Yes.
looking to burst down this hell, get her out of the game. Being able to belly flop her before the cleanse, before the purification beads, leaves a small window to get all this burst damage between the Intoxicate, the Agni bombs, even Geno's anything.
If this is a deathmatch game, right? If this is just an arena and there's the 5 players come out of the base, right? The bell rings at 1 and Bacchus jumps at 2, and you hope it's a 5 versus 4 by 3. That's the game plan for Luminosity. They want to go in and just go, boom, boom, you're dead. Who's left? We have one more player than you. Can we beat that? That is the goal for Luminosity.
Well, that's
we'll
why-
see if that's how it works out.
fineokay is going to be building very tanky to make sure that doesn't happen. Homiefe going to use that ultimate defensively. Up in the sky goes Weaken, landing onto Jigz. Wrath of Terror being used, but Hurriwind coming in clutch, taking out Clout.
Meanwhile, Homiefe not done just yet. The slowdown on the Homie is good to keep him away from Weaken, but Geno winds up trading out because of it. Hurriwind with the double kill. keegsmate a little bit slow on the rotation, waiting in the corner.
Kiki stealing away the blue, but on the left side, keegsmate trades out and kills Homiefe. That went a little bit too deep under the tier 1 tower earlier, trying to take out Weaken. That's so unfortunate that Geno wasn't level 5 during that exchange. That Ymir ultimate would have been the tipping point in terms of potentially getting Jigz a little bit further down the health department.
Yeah, it's a little bit tough there. Kiki actually has the lead here in this solo lane. The Belch being upgraded first here. Interesting of note, because support players usually go for the belly flop because you're initiating with the belly flop, and so you're able to go ahead and do that one. But the Belch, easier to, I suppose, clear the wave with. Also worth noting, because for some reason I remember this, Zelia still leveled the jump. He would group up the minions by using the Belch to push them together, and then belly flop on top of the wave while it was grouped up. So a difference in strategy here for the North American Bacchus solo.
It's just a different style, honestly. Both of them do a lot of damage, but if you're really trying to min-max the damage, you're getting a difference of about 90 base damage, which is not too shabby. The scaling is a little bit different. There's 10% more scaling on belly flop between all the ticks of damage of the Belch of the Gods versus the belly flop, but it's better to have the bigger base. So that extra 90 damage adds up at rank 5.
Gold tier he pulled, but ultimately just a test. And Geno going to be in trouble. Homiefe in more. The root was good, but the stun was one better. Here comes
and
help
time.
from Jigz, and Hurriwind goes through space, time, and through Geno. Dead support. Only level 5 so far. Jigz on the run. We can try to catch out, and he can't. Meanwhile, Hurriwind up top takes care of keegsmate. CLG getting kills every which way. Clout's here. That was a cute little play by Hurriwind, and I like the prediction as well by Clout.
But the level differential means that you can't really do much there. It's a level 9 Janus. Kiki using that Intoxicate to yet again invade the blue buff. Hell can't really compare to that damage, and you're not using that damage to poke out fineokay anytime soon with all the sustain, so you might as well use this for the experience lead.
Exactly. Loving the way Kiki's playing this. And the Bacchus solo is something that I actually really like. I think it definitely has its application. I think trying to kill a healer before they're able to do the healer thing, I think is one of those applications. This solo Bacchus is, and like I said, I guess I'm always painted as the guy that likes the weird stuff, but I actually do like the solo Bacchus with this specific composition in mind.
And the thing is, by getting the penetration boot specifically, that definitely favors any sort of damage over time. Doesn't matter, Anubis, Ares, otherwise, Kiki with Belch of the Gods. Makes sense again as to why he's going for that ability.
As opposed to
the belly flop.
But why is it better specifically for dot damage?
Because the penetration applies for every tick, whereas the penetration for the one single burst is only one source of damage. And not only that, keep in mind there's a 2-second differential between Belch of the Gods and belly flop, where Belch is 14 seconds, belly flop is 16, and you don't always want to use your escape for your primary source of damage. You give yourself another option to engage with the Belch, you know, just walk in there, same way Ymir does without blink, same way Sylvanus does without blink.
I'm here.
You just walk in there, Belch of the Gods, and then now you have a defensive option to jump away.
Yeah, certainly a nice look. Also, Kiki might be able to go into Spear the Magus, which would help out Keegs and NotGeno. Although Keegs can also certainly go into Magus. A lot of different options there. Geno, on the other hand, looking for Jigz. Gets knocked up, pulled in, hit by, well, everything. And Snoopy gonna take care of Geno right there. Weekend lands from the sky. Here comes Kiki. Hurriwind cut down to about 30%. Snoopy stunned out, forced beads.
Oh no, Kiki's going to chase him to the end of the world, potentially. Needs to find the stun. Belly flop will force out something, but the portal from Hurriwind just in the nick of time.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful heads-up play by Hurriwind, making sure to get his carry out of there. Easy peasy. Walked into each other there, but I mean, like, you watch that exchange, and that's what a lot of warriors are going to do out of the solo lane. They're going to almost kill you. Like, I'm picturing a Hercules walking over, right? Toss the boulder at Hurriwind, bring him down from 30, force him out of the fight, flip kick, get the stun, force beads, right? So he doesn't get the stun, and then they escape because it's 10 minutes in. 5 more minutes, Hercules gets a kill. Now, will Kiki get that kill 5 more minutes from now on the Bacchus is the big question.
Probably will. Unfortunate that his Intoxicate was used in a different area of that team fight, not for the lethal damage onto Snoopy. But still, even despite winning that team fight, CLG aren't getting any objectives, so they're still slowly building this experience lead, primarily in the mid lane differential. Hurriwind able to get a little bit of a better end than keegsmate. That's been just waiting for some of these engagements to unfold. It's Geno engaging onto Jigz, but Jigz one step ahead, using that Wrath of Terror defensively, which disrupts Luminosity's intentions completely. And during that knockup from Sylvanus ult, it's enough time for Hurriwind to accurately aim his ultimate and take out the early level 7 Ymir's life before he has the defenses or the health to really make a difference.
Hurriwind's been making a difference this game. Absolutely. Really enjoyed what Tyler's been doing today on this Janus, and it's come to be expected, I think, honestly. Like, really come to be expected to see the Janus just do well in the hands of Hurriwind. Like I said, multiple applications for this character, and I think that's when Hurriwind really shines, is when he's able to get the kills like we've seen him do so far, but also when he's able to save his teammate like he did for Snoopy on the left side. And I do have to apologize, actually. Memory did defy me. Shout outs to Quintosh out there correcting me. Bacchus did not win his game that he played solo in, but he did have a big impact, and that one I know for sure. So great job coming out from Azalea despite the loss. Hopefully Kiki can turn things around for the solo Bacchus, who's 0 for 1 right now in his competitive career.
Jigz kind of playing with fire there. A little scary when you're a tree, but, you know, helps out when you got the wisps.
You're proud of that one, aren't you, Tully?
No. It's just a statement. He's got the healing wisps to put out the fire on the tree. Only you can stop forest fires, Tom. Remember that. Don't you forget it.
Oh, man. So every Monday, 10 a.m., do Esports Weekly. Tully has a segment. That might be it. Kiki battling it out with fineokay. Intoxicate not doing a ton of damage there. Stun after the fact. Troublesome solo lane, I think, for the Bacchus. Don't like where this one's going. Building relatively tanky, which, of course, is what Bacchus tends to do as a Guardian. I would be remiss to mention, though, that if I didn't mention, he gets natural tankiness by way of Chug.
Yes.
So I thought that was going to lend us to a hybrid build, but instead, going directly through the team fight is Hurriwind. Somebody's just mad. I don't know what's going on with Hurry.
This is really refreshing to see Hurriwind play this lights out.
Is.
Even in case Homiefe wasn't getting the kill, Hurriwind was there for the cleanup. He's diving the tier 2 tower. He's getting these kills. He's escaping the clutches of the little Ratatoskr. It doesn't matter who's piloting him as CLG secures the Gold Fury. Hurriwind all over the place, hitting 2 with through space and time at a perfect angle.
Like I said, it's been a minute since we've seen Hurriwind do this sort of performance. It's nice to see.
fineokay might be in a little bit of trouble, but that sprint gave him enough separation from the belly flop. Now Hurriwind is here with the threshold, gonna miss the portal, but not the unstable vortex. fineokay baiting himself out like a juicy piece of meat, weakened with the last hit, but Hurriwind wants to avenge his teammate, but he didn't have enough mana for both the portal and the unstable vortex. He gives up the chase.
Just a little bit too short in the mana department, but very high in the experience department. Level 15, he's above both of the solo laners.
That's what Janus really does because of your ability to go from point A to point B, from camp to camp to camp, from finding these kills. He's 6-1 and 3. He gets the mid-game kills, for example, onto Jigz, onto Geno. I believe also Clout died in that skirmish, and that is what's giving him the experience to separate himself away from Jigz.
And here going into the Soul Gem, item all the rage earlier on in the season, had a number of adjustments. Well, nerfs. But Hurriwind on the Janus. Janus is a great selection for Soul Gem because he only has one damaging ability outside of the ult. And so all of these abilities are going to go ahead and give him a stack. But only one of them is going to take the Soul Gem. And for those of you that are already tweeting me that he can portal.
It's the portal. Portal does damage. Look at that. Portal did damage right there.
I was just going to... Caster's Curse. Taco is spilling on.
In fact, it's 3 damaging abilities. You're forgetting the ultimate where he hit 2 people not even 2 minutes ago, Tom. 2.
As usual, a wonderful job from the Observer.
Yeah.
On a serious note, shout outs to our observers, Doug and Extreme Man doing a great job. Proving me wrong once again, but no. My point is that very rarely are you going to use in the middle of a team fight. Very rarely are you using that portal for setup. The ultimate is all well and good, but it's really about the unstable. fineokay narrowly avoiding that, but left, right, cider, everybody's gone. fineokay toasted by keegsmate. But here comes the rest of CLG. This could be a big punish. Weekend gets stunned. Weekend gets knocked up. Geno gets killed. Weekend gets killed. Kiki gtes portaled.
Meditation online. The Fire Giant knockup will be applied onto Homiefe. Kiki trying to run away, but you're not running away from the portal god. Hurriwind with his sights onto Kiki. Finding the last hit of Homiefe, stealing one away from the mid-mage.
Just rough, as a dog would say. CLG up about 3,000 gold right now, almost 4. And just having the time of their lives.
fineokay, yes, they found the kill, but I knew that there was going to be a sacrifice eventually where LG commit all their eggs into one basket. And that basket was fineokay. It takes too long to kill this level 15 hell. It gives enough time for Hurriwind and the boys to make their rotation and turn that team fight around. 2 for 1.
You got to keep Hell down the entirety of the game. If you just let Hell play, she's going to just do what she's doing right now.
Actually, it was a 3 for 1 because Geno was only level 9. A very short cooldown on his side. Snoopy using the beads away from Clout's ultimate, relying on Hurriwind's portal. Great positioning defensively. Hurriwind making the offensive plays and still there for his teammates when it matters.
Luminosity do get vision on the, well, now dead Gold Fury. They should be here on the right-hand side getting vision on the very alive Fire Giant. Not choosing to do so. Only down about 6,000, so I suppose there is some light at the end of the tunnel. This could be a much larger lead, but it just feels like CLG have been so dominant because I guess the 6 kills from the mid laner, the 3 kills and no deaths from the hunter.
It's their ability to survive a lot of the engagements from LG. It's not like LG are not doing anything. They're trying to make the plays happen. Kiki has been invading fineokay's blue buff. Weekend has made his presence in the left side of the map. But CLG Jigz survived that level 5 gank. He got the Wrath of Terror off. He's been consistently avoiding Geno's freezes with his own ultimate defensively in some of these jungle skirmishes. And Hurriwind has been able to clean up. Luminosity just doesn't have exact lethal.
Pretty much. It's going to be able to find that, and a big part of that strategy was the Bacchus.
Yes, the Bacchus and the Ymir, last 2 picks after secondary ban phase. LG wanted to somehow figure a way to make this work, and it actually did at the beginning of the game where they killed Hurriwind.
Yeah.
But that was his only death. After that, something in his mind just popped like that.
Oh my! Just. I'm going to let the game speak for itself right there. It's my job to walk you through the team fight, but sometimes you just got to admire the greatness. I think this is a rough one for me, Toli, because this is where the jank was pulled out. The idea of the solo Bacchus to combat the hell, I really like that idea. I think there is merit to it. I think the mentality behind the anti-heal on the belch and the knock-up intoxicate combination to delete a healer before, I think that this is a sound strategy. But something that Taco and I spoke about yesterday on the broadcast is that you can have the world's greatest draft and still lose the game because the other team just pops off, like you said.
Yep.
Hurriwind's 8-1-7 with more than double the player damage of anyone on the map. I don't care what Luminosity brought to the table. CLG are flipping it and having dinner themselves. Hurriwind leading the charge, eating for Counter Logic Gaming.
With the Fire Giant now around their waist for about 3.5 more minutes, CLG are free to do what they please. 4,500 gold awaits them with all 3 Tier 2 towers remaining. LG, though, they're not deterred from playing aggressively, trying to find Jigz.
Jigz half HP, and this might be the beginning of a great play.
Look at Clout.
And still, every single time Hurriwind ults, he finds somebody. Clout gets chipped down to 10% and finished off by the Jungle Osiris. The Jungle Osiris again finds another one, another kill. 4 players dead, 20.5 on the clock. Deicide. Game, question mark. Phoenix, not a question mark.
Definitely getting at least 2 towers in the mid lane, at least the Phoenix. They could go for the end. It'll be up to Geno, Clout, and keegsmate to make this defense happen if CLG go for it. I wouldn't be surprised if they try, if they're feeling themselves, or if they want to slow it down right now. A disconnect, a little disconnect. You can tell. You can tell. You can tell. Some of them are feeling themselves. Some of them are like, all right, let's take a step back. And I respect either call, but I would prefer much rather the more safe and correct option back on out there. You're not 5th, 5, 6 slot items.
Right.
So that Titan, who's going to tank that Titan? Like, yeah,
Yep.
Jigz is making the plays offensively in the team fights, but you're not making the plays against the Titan when you're only about 4 items deep.
What I love the most about that the 2 calls that we saw executed. First of all, Homiefe and fineokay wanted nothing to do with a retreat. I think that says a lot to do with their personalities. But also Hurriwind, the man running this game.
It's the front line that wants to go in, and the back line's like, nah, we can't do it. Clout, yet again, just casually getting clipped.
Hurriwind was the one that backed off. I like to see that discipline, even when you're running the game. fineokay takes care of Clout. keegsmate could be next, and he will be. Nice cleanse coming out from the hell. Geno taken down. That's 10 kills in total for Hurriwind. And last time, Toli, I said question mark.
This is
this
exclamation
time, Toli,
point.
I emphatically say exclamation point.
Double exclam. The rest of CLG not even interested in the right side. Phoenix going straight for the Titan. A lonely Bacchus with only his jug of wine trying to defend.
CLG are finishing this one off with an exclamation point, but Luminosity with an interrobang. They're sitting there saying, really? That's the game we're getting? That's all we've got?
They want more. They want an
Hurriwind.
immortal.
11-1.
Oh, they're farming kills now. They are farming kills. Keegs setting up Hurriwind for his 12th kill in a row. Clout trying to be unlucky, number 13. They find the Titan before the 13th kill. Making a statement.
Yeah, gonna farm kills in the fountain after losing for the entirety of the summer split. Good for you guys.
I respect that, honestly. That's them
Do
feeling
you?
themselves. At that point, yeah.
I don't know if I respect that one.
There's certain times when, no, that game was theirs. That game was theirs.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's interesting, though. Like, you kill the guy in the fountain, I'm with that. You wait for somebody to respawn
Disrespect.
without killing the Titan. I don't know if I'm on board with that. And I'm the guy. I'm the guy that...
Keep in mind, this is week 3. Next week 4, they're playing each other again. This is the statement you're putting into them for that week 4 match. Meta mind game.
I'm on board.
I got you.
I'm on board.
Former player. I know these things.
Who is the MVP? There's one answer here. It's Hurriwind. Period. End of story. Tyler, congratulations. You looked fantastic. You've got MVP. I'm not really allowed to call that.
No.
That's actually us asking Mixer Chat. If I see fineokay up there again with the MVP, I'm going to go nuts. Hey, Desk. Is it Hurriwind?
It very clearly is Hurriwind after that game. Mixer Chat does not have any other options. They should vote for Hurriwind. In fact, that's what my notes are. I wrote 3 different times. Oh, Hurriwind rotates a duo for a double kill. Hurriwind show.
I just wrote 12, 1, and 13 right here.
I had a moment in the green room when Jigz blinked, ulted, and Hurriwind threw spaced in time 2 people.
You had a stroke.
I had
a
moment for sure because
Finch,
it was...
I kid you not, sounded like Raijin. He went, and I was like, oh my, is someone cosplaying Raijin here? No, it was just Finch reacting to what Hurriwind was doing.
I just got the least interesting call ever over my headset just now that Hurriwind won the MVP. Of course he did. Obviously he did. And thank you for voting correctly there, Mixer Chat. As he does what he's going to do all game long, which is delete people with the 3 space and time. Just deal a bunch of damage, come on through, run the team fight. I mean, yes, he got plenty of help from fineokay. Yes, Jigz did a great job setting up, but I mean, sometimes you just got to give the man credit for stuff like that.
I don't know, man. This made Hurriwind look kind of like a beast. Like, he was just crushing people all game long.
Hey, you see that Ymir wall that kept him inside the damage? This is the play where I lost it, by the way.
That's pretty much exactly what it sounded like. Yeah, that's pretty accurate. Look, sometimes you just have those games as a Janus player or a Raw player where, like, you're using your long-range abilities and you just can't seem to miss.
Yeah.
That was Hurriwind's game, man. And when you have those games, it is very difficult to lose when you're a team of CLG's caliber. And I think that's exactly what CLG needed, right? Like, they've been struggling all summer split long. They can't find a set victory to save their lives. They're sitting at 0-3. And it's time for one of these stars on their team to just go, we're better than this, and I'm going to show you that we're better than this. And that's what Hurriwind did today, and that's key. And if he can keep up that level of play, no one expected him to keep up that level of play, but something close to that level of play, then CLG is going to be just fine in the summer split.
And you said one of these stars, which is so accurate for this CLG roster, right? Because it feels like they really are stacked from top to bottom. There's no one on this roster you consider a weak link or would be surprised if they suddenly popped off the way that Hurriwind did.
True.
And that's why their 0-3 record was a little bit surprising to get things started, but it does look like a bit of a return to form. Now, of course, that was against the other 0-3 team. So they've got to show they can keep that going, but definitely look strong here as you got the schedule out in front of you. We're only on Wednesday. We still have some great sets coming up for you. In fact, CLG versus Splice is very telling. How good is this resurgence really from CLG, or Splice going to continue to look like one of the top 3 teams?
That is huge for both sides, right? Like, the Splice is trying to cement themselves as a top team. Top teams beat the teams that are below them in the standings consistently, especially when your 3-1 record is flipped for CLG's 1-3. CLG trying to prove that they're still better than Splice like they were during the spring split, and are trying to find their victory there.
Splice winning would tie them. They'd be 4-1.
Yeah.
Up there with Space Station E United. I don't know. I'm hyped to see some other teams up there in that top group. So, I mean, I want to see if they can do it. I mean, obviously, I'm very impartial. I mean, I don't care who wins, but better competition is what I'm rooting for, and Splice winning would be that.
Yeah, it's true. They look phenomenal thus far. I'm excited to see the development that they've made from the spring and summer split. We'll see if they'll be able to keep it up through the second half, because we've seen teams get off to great streaks at the beginning or horrible starts and then be able to turn it around very quickly. Looking at CLG during the spring where they got off to a great start, and then it kind of all fell apart very quickly.
And then United is the team that picked up on the back end of that, and they're the ones that ended up making it over CLG. So very much it does seem like we the teams that can be the most consistent throughout are the ones that really are the ones that are impressive. Like you look at Space Station, right, who continually up near the top, or our rival, who are always up there, and Dignitas as well. So that's what all those teams are trying to reach, is that level of consistency.
Exactly, and Splice is showing that they can reach that because they just beat Space Station earlier this week, remember? So
wow.
You can tell that they're definitely on the up and up.
And they're going to be a rematch, right? Next week,
Yep.
we do the mirrored weeks here, so we're going to get to see them matching up recently, or not before too long, if I can get my words out here in just a moment. But we actually do have the actual schedule for how all of our matches are going to be breaking down throughout the rest of the summer. Esports Weekly, where we go through all those matchups, give you the predictions, which I'm pretty sure you're still up at the top of, Ryan, correct?
Believe I am. Yep.
Yeah.
Especially, I just know I'm above Hindu, man, and that's what's really most
That
important.
really is the barometer, right?
Yeah,
like, yes,
really.
you're better than...
I mean, Hindu and Taco were tied coming into this week. I was not tied because I was above Hindu Man and Taco, but mostly Hindu Man.
That's right, mostly Hindu Man. So check out Esports Weekly. That's going to be every Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Then the Console League follows that. We actually had some great console matchups earlier this week, too. So if you missed them, try and go back and watch those VODs. Then the Global Series is going to be Tuesday through Fridays at that same slot, 11 a.m., with the minor league to follow. And every Monday through Friday, you can count on SPL, 3 p.m. Eastern.
That's right. And this Friday, of course, Southeast Asia is every other Friday. On the weeks where you won't have Southeast Asia, it'll be patch notes, and patch notes are coming on this Friday, and they're gonna be really, really solid. New God reveal. It's gonna be really dope.
A little bit of that Baron Samedi action, right? That's
You
gonna be coming
already
y'all's
know.
way. And I think that we even heard Age talking about that Chaos is one of the ones working on that. So I know a lot of Chaos fans out there want to see a little bit into what's in his mind, what he thinks is fun. Baron Samedi, a chance to see that.
Baron Samedi is fun. Trust me on that one.
Absurdly
He's gonna be dope. I'm excited to show off what we've been working on.
Well, that's going to do it here for us today. Check back with us tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. We'll bring you some Global Series action into the minor league, into the SPL, and, of course, patch notes on Friday. And as always, thank you for joining us.
Peace.